everybody. Welcome to the Choir Directors Academy. I'm your host, Angela Elaine. It's good to see each and every one of you. Another day has come to an end, and we are here to discuss those things that you have questions on, or things you would like to know about being a choir director or whatever that pertains to music, that is. And even if you have some Bible questions, that's okay. But we really had to discuss with you on how to become a better choir director, more effective in your job. But before I get into anything, I ask that you like and share this video and let everybody know that we are online on tonight. Yes, I'm kind of tired, but I'm excited because I started my vacation. Yay! I'm tired, y'all. I need a vacation. Yes. So it will be starting this weekend. Yes. So, but anyway, in the meantime, let me do my job and you like and share, and then we'll go over whatever questions you have. Some of you have already submitted questions, and I'm thankful for that. I have some here that I'm going to go through. But as usual, I always review. Who is this? Hey, sis. Oh, everybody's on YouTube tonight. What's going on? But anyway, like and share the video. But as usual, we recap what we talked about last week, the previous show, and then we get into the questions of whatever we're going to discuss on the new show. Okay, hope everybody had a wonderful day. Just to recap, last week we talked about when your choral performance goes bad. Oh my goodness. And, you know, that's something that happens. There's nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen. You just have to accept that. But even when those things, for some strange reason, even though you know those things are going to happen, you still get nervous and you're still like, oh my God, you know, you still panic. But I just want to give you some pointers on things that you should do. Recapping last week, the highlights that we had. Number one, you want to stay calm and don't give up. And that pretty much, well, you have to be calm anyway. I don't care if you're in a choral competition, you still need to be calm. All right. If you're not in a choir competition, generally all you have to do is just keep going. You don't stop. You know, you don't panic and you don't stop. And that's something that most beginning directors make a mistake. You get frustrated because you rehearse, you put all this time into rehearsing, and what happened? Boom, it flops. Stay calm. It's not the end of the world. Trust me, you're not the first director. You won't be the last. Second of all, you have to prepare yourself. Have yourself ready. Be loose in the mind. You know, be loose. Don't sit there and like, okay, we got this. Well, yeah, you may have it. Okay. But at the same time, you want to be relaxed because things always go wrong when you think you got it together. It never fails. I'm telling you, when you think you got this, that's when things fall apart because you're dealing with humans. Come on. You're dealing with humans. It happens. So you need to prepare yourself for that. Number three, don't let the choir know you're angry. That's the worst thing you can do as a leader, is to show your anger and your frustration. You don't want to do that. You always want to keep yourself together, breathe, inhale, exhale, and keep it moving. And you just have to know that's part of the course. And also remember that one bad performance does not define you or your choir. You have to remember that it's not the end of the world. You know, okay, stuff happens. Trust me, all of these, the prominent choirs, each of them go through the same thing. Okay. All of us go through the same thing. There is no perfect choir. I don't care what you see, what you think it may be. There is no perfect choir. I can't stress that enough to everyone. There is no perfect choir. I don't care if everybody in your choir can sing like angels. There is no perfect choir. So don't look for perfection. What you should look for is the best. All right? Because then you may be the cause of the bad performance one day. So you want to just know you do your best at all times. Okay? It may not, you know, whatever happens, it happens. But you always want to do your best. You want perfection. You won't hardly get that. All right. Then there are times where everything will be executed perfectly. But if you really go back and analyze everything, you will find imperfections. And that's fine. That's fine. This is how it works. All right. So those things, please keep those things in mind and don't beat yourself up because things don't go the way you want them to go. Don't do that. It's not worth it. All right. Now, BYOQ, you know, it's funny that all of the millennials and everybody behind the millennials, Generation Z, I don't know what they all are. I don't know. It's funny, all of them knew what I was saying, but everybody else was like, what does that mean? Bring your own questions. Yes, because I had so many things to discuss, but I didn't want to get too deep in things. So I said, well, let me do another Q&A session with everybody. And if you have questions, that's fine. Like I said, I got a few of them here that people have already submitted. And if you have something you want me to have a question that you want me to discuss, please do so at this time. YouTube, thank you so much. You all are driving. It's a lot of y'all, more of you all than it is on Facebook. I don't know what's going on. I know this is convention time and people got a lot of things going on. So it's all right. You know, not upset about that at all. My sister said, what? Bring your own question. Bye. Oh my God. Oh my God. Help me, God. You know what? You can't do anything about family. Family does what family does. You know, it's like, that's not what I was looking for, but okay. All right. The first question, one of the questions I was given is how to select leads for, how do we select leads for certain songs? How should I coach them on how to lead a song? Well, first of all, for the first part of that question, I suggest you need to know your choir members. You need to know and in the sense of a basic choir, there are people in the choir that sing slow. They may sing, you know, when they're singing with a group, they're fine. But when they sing individually, they got beautiful voices. They know how to ad-lib, but they sing slow. And then you got those people that sing in the medium, kind of like the song I Got a Reason. You know, it's a nice, you know, in between beat. And then you got those that know how to drive, that can sing on the, you know, we clap on the 2 and the 4, they sing on the 1 and the 3. Don't lose breath. They can go. All right. You need to know who's capable of doing whatever. All right. You don't want to stick a person that is a slow singer or a slow soloist, like somebody that can sing I Love Jesus or one of these slower songs. You don't want to give them a fast song or a medium song. So you need to know your choir members. You need to know what their best side is, where they're strong. And this is if you want the song to go over in a good fashion. Get the strong one. Match them up with whatever song is the strongest for them. Like me personally, I am not a slow song singer. I'm really not. You know, my preference would be fast. You know, the driver or a medium fast, a medium type song. I can sing a slow song, but you would never want to put me up for it because it's just like it's too slow. I can't really get with it. But if you give me like a medium song like I Got a Reason or something like something fast that Lillian Lloyd would sing, then that's my element. I can do that, right? So it behooves you to know your choir members, know what their strengths are, know what their weaknesses are. How should I coach them on how to lead? The best way to do that is be an example. Show them how to sing it, right? As a director, you should be able, a good director should be able to sing any song. I don't care what it is, even if it's slow, even though it's not my forte. If I need to sing a slow song, I can do it. It's just not my forte. But in order for me to show that person how to sing out, how to have live, how to project themselves, how to put themselves in the song so that they understand the meaning of the song, show them how, then that's my job. And that's what your job would be. That's the best way to show them how to lead a song. Because most of the time they need an example. Once you show them how to do it, they can jump in and do it. They just don't know, they need direction. Okay. So that would be your job. Best thing for you to do is sing it. Show them how to sing. Give them a little snapshot on how to do it. And then they will understand how to go. All right. That's on the first question. The next question is, should church choirs charge for performances? Okay, that's questionable. First of all, I'm hoping that if you're going to start, if your church choir is that good, I'm hoping that they are a recording choir. Or, you know, they won a couple of awards or something like that. Because technically we don't look at church choirs as charging for performances. Now, let me throw this in here. If it is a concert, a paid promotional concert, they should give you something. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, I've been in like a paid, and when I say a paid service, it's like tickets. They're selling tickets, and the tickets are going for like $25, $30, or $50, you know, a ticket. Then yeah, you should receive something. I think you should receive something. They should offer you something. They probably tell you, make a contract with you and tell you that we're going to give you this, that, and the other. But they should. But if you just walking up saying, well, I'm going to charge, no, that's actually not protocol. It's not safe to do that, especially if your choir is not named among those choirs that that do get compensated for them coming. Because first of all, they probably wouldn't call you to sing if your choir is not of that caliber. All right. But as you as walking up and I'm saying, I got a church choir, we have no kind of record, we have no kind of audience where people are familiar with us, and I walk up and say, you know, you invite me to come and sing with my choir, and I'm like, yeah, okay, well, you got to pay me X amount of dollars in order to sing. No, it doesn't work that way. And chances are you will never get invited to anything else ever. But like I said, if it's a paid event, like a concert, and they're at a venue and they're charging for tickets, 10 times out of 10, they will offer you something. Okay. They will give you something. Joseph says, how do we work with people that aren't talented singers? Oh my goodness. You know, first of all, you got to have a lot of patience. You must have, and he said, for who? For a church choir. Yeah, you got to have a lot of patience. A lot. First of all, you have to, I can't stress that. And I'm going to go back to your question. I'm going to keep it up. I'm going to keep it on screen so I know where I'm going. People that are talented singers in a church choir, a lot of patience. Okay, because first of all, you got to get them to where they even recognize music. Because what the problem is, let me approach it this way. Everyone is teachable, regardless. And my sister's on here, and she can tell you I had people in the choir couldn't hold a tune if you wrapped it around their necks. It was just bad. It was like, oh my God, you know, stress. But I had to have patience with them. Okay. The problem, let me tell you, the problem is what they hear or what they think they hear is not what comes out of the mouth. The two are not regulated. Okay. In other words, they're not in sync. And that's what, you know, they talk about having perfect pitch. But the average choir member can give you at least 80% of the time what they hear will come out of their mouths. But then you got some people who, you know, they want to sing, but you have to train them. Right. And it's very, I'm sorry, I hate to tell you, but it's very slow. And what you have to do is start with songs that have simple melodies. For instance, my sister said, oh my God, she know. Okay. A simple melody like, oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. Yes, he is good. Something like that. You have to start with something simple where they'll get used to hearing. Hey, Shanita, good to see you. Where they get used to hearing the note. Okay, because that's the problem. That's the problem. They're not hearing. They know what they think they're hearing, but that's not what you're receiving. Right? So what you have to do is get a simple tune. And even that might be too complex. Just something simple. You're going to have to spend your rehearsals or separate time, depending on how many non-talented people you have. If you have one or two non-talented people, then you might be able to have a little session with them on your own and kind of work them. That's why we say choir directors are actually vocal trainers. We have to train people how to sing. And that's where a lot of patience is coming in. But let me tell you this, Joseph, you will reap the fruits if you faint not. But but you may have to take them on the side and kind of work with them, right? If it's the whole choir, you need a whole lot of patience, a whole lot of Jesus, a whole lot of prayer. And then you need to start with a simple song. Something you maybe even Mary Had a Little Lamb, because you got to get their ears tuned to music, right? And I'm hoping that you kind of follow what I'm saying. You have to get they have to get used to hearing the notes. One other thing I can suggest to you is what I did, because the majority of the people in the choir, they thought they could sing, but they couldn't sing, if you understand what I'm saying. Is that I trained them to just listen to the music. And like I said, it depends on how many you have. And that was kind of a shorter way that I went. I would get them to just listen to the music. Again, starting with simple songs. You don't want anything really complex, but you want them to just listen to the music. Don't sing with the music, because these two are not matching, okay? Just listen to the music while you're washing dishes, while you're doing whatever. Because what you're doing is you're bypassing the ear and you go into the spirit of the person. Our spirits have perfect pitch. And I did a class on that maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago. But your spirit has perfect pitch because that came from God. The breath, the pneuma, the breath of life, that came from God. So that has perfect pitch. So what you're doing when you tell them, say, okay, listen to this song while you're washing the car, while you're washing dishes, while you're cleaning your house. Because that sound will bypass the ear and go straight into the spirit. And what they don't realize is that the spirit and the ear will start connecting. And they will start singing from what's in here versus what they think they're hearing here. And I had people like that. But and I'm telling you this because I actually won How Sweet the Sound with people who are not professional singers. When we won How Sweet, what was that, 2010, we won How Sweet the Sound. I had 9 people. And you know, How Sweet the Sound was a big affair. We were singing at the United Center in Chicago. 9 people. And the only 2 people who were trained to sing was me and my sister. We were the only ones because my mom was a choir director and she went to school on a musical singing scholarship. So she trained us how to sing, and we sang in everybody's choir. We sing in choirs all over the place. So we were the only 2 that knew how to sing. Everybody else, the other 7 people was, oh my God. You know, the other, well, it was 8 because she was singing in choir and I was directing. So I had to train them. And honestly, that's how I got everybody to learn how to sing. Was I told them, don't sing with the music. Just let it play. I don't care what you're doing. If you're just sitting there, just let it play. Don't sing, just let it play. And I promise you, every person that did that sang with perfect pitch. They didn't even realize they were singing perfect pitch. This is the easiest way I can tell you to get by this. They didn't even know. My sister can tell you, she was sitting in rehearsal when one person who was the worst of the litter, oh my God, I would tell her to pantomime all the time. She sang better than everybody. She just did what I told her to do. I said, when you're washing clothes, when you're doing this, don't sing, just listen. And she did that. And she sang better than everybody. We all had to look at her. I mean, it's like, oh my God. Because I would spend 15, 20, 30, sometimes I would spend an entire rehearsal on her, trying to get her to sing what she's hearing. And she couldn't get it, right? But that time, she sang the perfect. She's been singing it. Well, she's not in the choir anymore. But the whole time she was in the choir, She's been singing perfect. And when they sang on stage, they had perfect pitch. They just sang what was in their hearts, right? So that's the best. That's the best. That's the best. Hey, Isaiah. Hey, my buddy. I already did your question that you gave me. I'm sorry. He's on YouTube. Everybody's on YouTube today. My sister says she sure did surprise me. I'm telling you. Perfect pitch. Yes. Joseph. Yes. We all, the spirit that God gave us has perfect pitch. So that's the best way I can tell you. Isaiah. I'll come back to it, Isaiah. But Joseph, that's the best I can tell you. To have them to just listen to the music, encourage them not to sing with it. Because like I say, our spirits, I'm looking down, everybody, because I'm reading the questions. That's the best way I can tell you. Encourage them to just listen to the music. Don't sing with it, listen. And I promise you, it'll get in their spirits, and even if they're asleep, and I would rehearse with the choir members until they were like sleepy, and they would be so tired. And you know, they still sang the song perfectly, sleepy. Just they tired. It's just like, but it's in the spirit. All right, it's in the spirit. So that, I hope I answered your question, Isaiah. Okay, hold on. This is the one you were asking me a long time ago. You said how to select leads. I never answered your question. And how should I coach them? All right. So I hope that answers your question. And if anybody has any questions, put them out there in the chat and type them in, and I will answer them for you. Okay. Another question I got was, oh Lord, was what do you do when the worst singer or person in the choir is an official of the church, i.e. the first lady? That's kind of hard. First of all, when it's the first lady, is the best thing I can tell you to do is to pray, first of all, and have that. Maybe you can have a conversation with the pastor. I don't know how well that's going to work. Because I've had people in the choir that were less challenging to me, kind of gave me a little hard time. Most of them, I prayed for them. I earnestly, I really had to pray because, some people, like you said, they're a higher official. The best thing I can do is tell you to pray on that one, because if you try to talk, or no matter what you say, is going to be perceived as disrespectful, and you don't want to do that. We don't want to create issues in church. You definitely don't want to create one with the pastor. The best thing you can do is what I did, is just pray, have patience, kind of direct them. Hopefully the person, whoever it is. But I will say this, if that person is in leadership, they should understand what it's like. And I'm hoping it's just that they don't know really how to sing, and they're not being disruptive. I want to say that. I want to honestly believe they're not being disruptive to the choir rehearsal. But if they are the worst singer or person in the choir, try those tips that I just gave earlier to try to encourage them to do it that way. And then the main thing, what I did was like just pray the person out. And eventually I had a conversation with the pastor and the president of the choir, and we got them out. All right. That would be one of those things you would pray, and hopefully they will find out, especially being the pastor's wife, would find out that choir is not the niche for them, that they would serve better in the women's department or somewhere else. Because I can see a big disruption happening there. But like I say, if it's just singing, then I would encourage her as well as the rest of the choir to, as I said before, to sing, to learn the music just by listening to it and not trying to sing, right? Because you really don't want to get into that that's a leadership dynamic, and you really don't want to get into that because that can cause problems in other areas. But that would be my best bet, is for you to pray that, pray earnestly. If you can have a conversation with the pastor, or maybe you can have him come to the rehearsal or something, you know what I'm saying, to kind of see the dynamics, and then maybe he can step up and say something to kind of like maybe shift or suggest her that she needs to move to another area. That would be the best thing, because I can see a trouble brewing real big with that one. Okay. Joseph said, oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Priscilla said, that's a loaded question. No disrespect to exactly. I say no disrespect, but you know, it's kind of hard dealing with. Priscilla, I said, it is. It's kind of hard. That's a hard situation. I mean, you know, no disrespect, but you know, like I said, maybe you have to get like the pastor to come to the rehearsal and maybe sit there and look and maybe be able to shift her and tell her to go another way, because that's a potential problem right there. That's a potential problem, and we don't want to stir up. We want to get the choir better, not cause dissension in the ranks or in the church, because that can be a problem, right? That can be a problem if you come out swinging at her. that can be a problem. All right, so that will be my best suggestion for that. All right, next question. Should we check the appearance of the singers or the choir before performance? I would say yes. If you have a praise and worship team, you know, if you notice in the media now, there's been a lot of discussion about the appearance and what people wear when they are doing praise and worship. One thing I want to stress to everybody is that when you're singing, when you're standing on that stage, on the platform, you're singing in front of the people of God in your churches, you don't want to be a distraction. You want to usher them, you want to usher them into the presence of God. You don't want to be a distraction to the people. And this is why people are stressing uniforms and choir robes and different things. I did attend a master's class not long ago, and it was taught by a well-known producer and artist, and he was saying that when he's in charge of the entire music department, and he checks everybody when they're on stage. And he said, and some of them get up there with something super tight on. He tells them, go and get you a jacket, go get you something and tie around your waist that's entirely too tight. If that is your responsibility, if you are the minister of music or you are the president of the choir, you have a responsibility to not only teach the parts, not only to make sure the music is right, but you also have a responsibility to make sure that the department is representing properly, right? I always make sure, even you as the director, there should be a certain level or a standard that you operate in. Myself, when I like to dress nice, let me tell you, I'm with the red bottoms. I'm with all of that. You know, I'm always dressing nice with the skirt. You know, I always got to be neat and presentable when I'm standing on platforms or when I'm standing before the people of God. That's standard, cut and dry, no argument, no debate. But my thing, I always make sure that I'm presentable, because as a director, people are viewed the backside of me. So I always make sure, number one, if I'm wearing an A-line, a B-line skirt or a straight skirt, I always make sure that my jacket is long enough. I raise my arms and make sure that when I raise them, I'm properly covered. I mean, you know, and I mean, it doesn't have to be like a big frumpy jacket. You know, I wear something that's kind of fitted in the waist, you know, or whatever, because you're not trying to stand there with a potato sack on. But I always make sure that my appearance is proper. My skirt is not you know, too short, too tight, too big, to what. You always make sure it's presentable because people are viewing me. Believe me, your appearance has a lot to do with how people accept you. It does. Come on, it just does. And I always make sure if I'm going to, if I usually tell a person, be on the lookout, I might use you for a song. I'm always going to scan and look. And you know what? I always make sure I have a backup lead. So if that person does not, I always let them know in rehearsal, you know, I'm going to have more than 2 leaders. I don't know who I'm going to choose. It depends on who the Lord tells me, the Spirit tells me. And first thing I do is look at how you are, because I don't want you standing up on a platform with something where everybody's getting a freak show. And then I don't want you standing on the platform where we got all of these people sitting there and everything's on display. That's not proper. It's not proper. Not in a church venue. All right. Now, if you singing in a secular, you know, place and whatever else, I ain't got nothing to do with that. You know, you wear what you do. You wear what you wear because you out in the secular world. But when you in the church, you should respect the environment. You should respect God's house. I know we say it's just a building, but it's not, because you're expecting the presence of God to be in the place. So it's more than just the building, but also you showing who you are. It doesn't matter if people don't accept it or not. All right. A lot of things that we think are okay when we're younger, when you get older, your mind changes. I mean, when I was younger, I was like, I don't care, but at the same time, I may have said I didn't care, but you never seen me being that way. I always knew to wear a jacket, a little blazer or something to try to cover up. Or I would make sure that my skirt was A-line, or if I wore a blouse and the skirt was A-line, the blouse wasn't pulled tight in the front. You just have to make sure that things are nice, all right? And you don't want to be embarrassed. I mean, some women, I always tell them, make sure that everything is right when you're standing there. You don't want the skirt falling down accidentally. You don't want a button popping in the middle of a song. I've seen that happen where, the blouse is so tight, the button pops. You understand what I'm saying? Check your stuff out. I always tell people, singers, everybody, before you stand before people, check your stuff out. Check it, stretch, push, pull, jump, do whatever you're going to do. So, because you never know, all of a sudden you're singing and you get happy and stuff is not right. You may be happy, but everybody else is thinking something else. And let's not get caught up in this where they shouldn't be looking or it doesn't matter. We don't want to be that kind of, you don't want to create that kind of environment when you're standing before people. I'm always conscious, and that's why I'm an advocate for uniforms. But I do understand it's kind of hard when you're dealing with a mass choir, especially if you're doing with a jurisdictional choir like what I had, a jurisdiction, you got like 100 or so people. It's kind of hard to buy uniforms unless everybody's wearing that Cossack thing. Then you kind of tell people, wear this or that, or, I give them a guideline on what to wear. And I tell them, be dressed properly. You don't know what you're going to have to do. And if you talk to your members, have that conversation with your choir members. All right. Have that conversation. Hey, Calvin, have that conversation. You must have that conversation with your choir. Let them know when I became the music president, I couldn't do nothing about what everybody else did, but I let them know what my standards were. I required the musicians to be in a shirt and a tie. Come on now, you got the air conditioning blowing on you. Don't come here with the ripped jeans and all that kind of jazz. And we're in a jurisdictional meeting where we got bishops and everybody coming. You can't do that. Now, what you do at the district level or the local level, that's your business. That's not my purview. They didn't commission me for that. But I told them that you need to be a certain standard. And when I was the president, they all came in dressed like that. I told my directors, do what you got to do now. This is a standard. This is jurisdictional. The next level is national. You need to be proper. All right. So have that conversation with your choir members. And then also it depends on what kind of church. If you're in a modern church and they don't care, you still should have a standard. You should just be a person that has standards anyway. People respect you when you have standards. I'm telling you that. A lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't believe that. But trust me, people respect you according to your standards. Okay. Let me get some of these comments. Isaiah said, absolutely yes. Appearance should be checked and discussed during rehearsal. Come on now. Also, people know right from wrong or should know. Bring back to. I'm with you, bro. That's exactly, you should know. Appearances should be checked. Like I say, when you're in charge of that department, if that pastor has placed you in charge of that department, it's your job to teach the people. It's your job to tell them what the standards are. And as Isaiah said, discuss between rehearsal. And if they are not dressed properly, then tell them, I'm sorry, but your services are not needed today. Or else you got to sit in the back. You know, if the musicians came and weren't dressed, you're not touching an instrument. I don't care. You see, that's the beauty of me being an instrumentalist myself, playing the organ, the piano, the drums, and the xylophone. Okay, you act the fool. You think I won't play those drums in 4-inch heels? My sister tell you, I will get on those drums and play in 4-inch heels and do the roll and snap and do whatever. Try me. Try me. You know, I mean, you know, that's the other side that I, you know, being an instrumental, I don't take that. You must do the right thing. My sister said, robes are outfits like Ricky Dillon's. Exactly. I did do that once. Who is this? Calvin. Calvin. I did do that once with the jurisdictional choir. We had a concert during Black History Month, and we took an idea from Chicago Mass Choir, where I had all of the ladies in the long African skirt, whatever African skirt you wanted. I didn't structure or say, you know, and we all had like a white shirt blouse. Some, you know, long, it was cold, so everybody's blouse was long sleeve. And it was just a regular white shirt blouse. And it came out, you know, at first I kind of thought everybody was gonna be like, you know, I don't want to. To my surprise, everybody came in. Those ladies looked so beautiful. They were so excited to wear that. And they had their hair all fixed up pretty. And it was so beautiful to see people come in. And it looked so beautiful to see them all walk up to the choir stand with these flowing skirts and things. So, I mean, you set a standard. And when people know who you are and that you're setting the standard and that you have a track record for it, they will follow. They will follow. I'm telling you what I know. They will follow. Okay, Joseph has another question. He said, what do we do when our vision for the choir does not connect with the pastor's vision? Okay, that is a problem. What you have to do, okay, first of all, and that depends, you know, on the pastor's vision. All right, generally, let's just say, let me use these terms. Let's just say your pastor's vision is for the choir to just sing, go to anniversaries, stuff like that. All right. I'm just doing it generically. And just say your vision is to enter them into a choir competition. That's just what's on my mind right now. All right. And you've already discussed this with your pastor, and you said, well, I want to take the choir and get them involved in competitions. I want to do a recording. I want to do all these different things. And he's just like, no, you know, your pastor's like, no, I just want them to sing and do whatever. Okay. The first thing you have to do is follow the vision. Remember, the pastor is the head of that church. Period. End of story. Okay. You don't want to get into a shoving match or a fighting match with your pastor. He is, whoever your pastor is, he is in charge of that service. He is in charge of the church. He's the angel of the house. All right. So what you do is you just work it. This is a time process. All right. You have your goals. First of all, you got to build. The first step is to build the choir, right? Build them into becoming that singing choir. Because if your mind is set for them to be a competition choir or a recording choir, you're going to have to train them, right? Because a lot of times, sometimes leaders, they think of it when you say, oh, I want to do this, that, and the other. They're kind of like, no, I don't want that kind of exposure. They may not be, and you know, it may not be what they're thinking at that time, right? They may not be what they're thinking at that time. So what you do is you train the choir and you work towards that goal, just because you need the experience anyway. Before you get to the point where you're going to have the choir to do what you want them to do, you got to train them. And that's going to take time as well. But as you're training them, you're developing yourself, you're developing your patience, you're developing your skill set, you're developing your vocal training, you're developing just a leadership type thing. That doesn't mean you're working around him. No, his vision is for them to be just a good choir. And that's what you work at. Okay, don't worry about, okay, you know, what I want is not what he, don't even worry about that. You just get them to where they need to be, because that may not be where you're going to end up. Number two, there's a possibility that they will change their minds. Right? Right, Joseph? They may change their mind. If you're working with them, say, okay, you don't want them to do recording, you don't want to be in competition, okay, that's fine. But you start training them anyway, training them to become a proficient choir, making that department proficient, teaching them how their part, teaching them how to, because eventually what you may be training them how to sing notes, how to do this or that, but eventually you want them to learn how to sing where they teach their part, teach the part to themselves. They learn the song on their own. They learn soprano, alto, tenor, right? It's going to take you time to teach them how to hear soprano or hear alto, hear tenor. Keep training them and working with them. Okay. And as you're doing that, the better the choir sounds, believe me, the pastor's vision is going to change to, you know, they need to be doing more than just singing here. And then when you start visiting other churches and he starts to see the reaction from other people talking about, yeah, you know, when other pastors get to patting him on the back, that choir really singing. They should be doing this. They should be recording. They should be doing that. Then after a while, they'll come to you and say, you know, the choir needs to be doing more than just sitting up here singing and going around. They need to be recording. They need to be. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So, okay, you know, this is what you want. Okay, but you just start perfecting them the best that you can do. Work with them, get them to the point where they have a good sounding, crisp sound, right? When they're singing. And then eventually they, you know, gotta let that pastor see this and his vision will go spread out further. I hope that answers your question. All right, good. Joseph, did that answer your question? Okay, I'm hoping for the best. That's all. Just work with what you got. All right, work with what you got. You know, none of us have perfect scenarios. Like myself, I was the choir director when I took over the choir. They were just used to singing in the four walls. And, you know, we go to a few churches. My father happened to be the pastor and he said, okay, it's time for you to step up and be over the choir. Well, when I took over the choir, they were not competition grade at all. I told you how they were. Okay. They weren't like that. But through me working with them, when we finally got to the point where we started getting in competition, that made him proud. Like, okay, you know, the choir is moving, they're doing this, they're doing that. So it changed his vision. The vision got expanded to just singing good in these four walls. And when we go to other anniversaries, it got to the point where it expanded. Okay, they need to get in competitions. They need to record. They need to do that. So that kind of worked itself away around to what my vision was. All right. I hope that helps. Okay, cool. Willie, what are you saying? Speaking of vision, how do you get the members of the choir on one accord, keeping peace and dealing with dysfunction? You know what? You have to address it when it first starts. And with myself, like before we got into the competitions, when I first mentioned my vision to everybody, I started with a cappella. Because, you know, most choirs are traditional. They sing with music. You take the music away, You don't have much. So what I did when I mentioned it to the choir, that I was going to kind of get into a cappella singing, and I want to move them because I enjoy competitive singing. I want to move them there. It was not widely accepted. I mean, they rebelled. My sister didn't, but everybody else, I think I had maybe 15, 20 people in. Everybody else was like, I don't want to do, it was just chaos. I don't think we should do that. I don't want to, you know what? I kept pushing and I kept talking about it, and kept training, kept auditioning, that one soprano, one alto, one tenor, and have them to sing their part by themselves without music. I kept doing it week after week, year after year. But what changed it is when we started going out singing to other places, and we sang a cappella, and they saw the reaction of people, because it was just a regular church choir. I mean, I just had a bunch, basically a bunch of people. I don't want to call them misfits, but just a bunch of people that, But when I got up there and I gave pitches, that's all I did, because I went through all of this with them in rehearsal for years. And so when we started singing a cappella out front in public, and all I did was just gave pitches, da, 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 and they come in, whoo, and sing, and people were like, oh my God, the reaction of the audience helped solidify my vision. And they were like, whoa, when we go places, people react to us. Oh my God. That's what drove. They all start coming together thinking like, oh, okay. See, one thing about people, we can have a vision and we can tell them, this is what we're going to do. This, whatever. But if they never see any fruits of the vision, then they'll never get on one accord. They just sit up there like, well, you just talking, you're not doing anything. But when I kept going and working with them, and then, like I said, when we went out in the public and they began to see the reaction of people, when we walked, when they called our choir to sing, the people would be like, oh yeah, oh, redeem. And they liked that. They liked it. And they were kind of like, man, I see what you're saying. I mean, the reaction of people, she worked with us, then I started. Before then, trust me, my sister can tell you, I was one of the well-disliked choir members. I can't stand her. She's so mean and she's trying to be so perfect. No, I'm pushing you because I know if I don't push you 110%, I won't get 80 when you get in front of the people, right? I know that. I got to push you in order to get you to be more than decent when you stand before people. And so once they see the fruits of it, it can be very, very small. But once they see whatever your vision is, once they get a chance to see a piece of it come to fruition, then you'll see everybody start coming together. All right. If you keeping peace in the choir, sometimes, I tell you this, but sometimes you got to go there with the good book. You got to pull out the Bible. And sometimes if your choir rehearsal turns into a teaching Bible class, sometimes you got to do that. You got to pray. Sometimes you have to pray them out, because it's always going to be dissension in the choir. It's always got to be there, but you got to correct it. First of all, you got to stay calm and not get upset, because that's only going to make it worse. All right. So you stay calm when you see it happening. You be gracious with it, and just like, is there an issue or a problem? Sometimes, if it's two that can't get along, you try to separate them. But if they still doing it, you got to call them out. Come on, the two of you and I, and then we need to talk. Sometimes you got to pull them aside and talk to them, right? And if it's one person that's consistently that one to cause problems, then sometimes you may have to give them a sabbatical from the choir, because you just causing too much trouble, right? Because you have some people like that. They create chaos. They're miserable and they cause everybody else to be miserable. And then sometimes those people, you have to give them a sabbatical. You have to give them, you do it just like you do on a job. When somebody is causing dissension or discord, you have to address it, not with anger or some kind of, resentment, but you approach them and, say, is there a problem? Is there something we need to talk about? Because I'm detecting that, there's a little, something is not right. You might be a little upset, what's going on? Sometimes, and I hate to say it, but sometimes people just want attention. They just want attention. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes they want attention, but everything needs to be addressed. It's how you address it. You don't want to address anything with anger. I can tell you that doesn't work. I've done that already. Doesn't work. It just spreads the wildfire. All right. So what you want to do is you want to just address it with professionalism. No detach yourself emotional, because it is very irritating to see something like that. So you detach yourself emotionally and you address it with professionalism. Maybe we need to have a conversation. If it keeps going, I don't care if it's a lead singer, because when you do that, if you let that kind of chaos continue, you're going to lose. I don't want to say control, but you're going to lose the respect of the group. You're going to lose that, lack of a better word, that control. All right. That disrespect is just only going to get worse. Right. It's like weeds. It's just going to keep growing. But you need to address those things and let them know this is not proper, not in this rehearsal, not here. All right. We don't operate like that. This is how we do things. If you have if there's some kind of dissension or something in the ranks, then we'll address that afterwards. But right now you need to pull it in and do what you got to do. All right. But that it has to be addressed, because you don't want the people don't want them to see fear in you. Like, oh my God, how do I deal with this? Oh my God. You don't want that, because once they see that in you, you lost it. All right. You got to start all, it's hard to get back with that. All right. So I hope that answers your question. But the first part, just letting them see any glimpse of good things happening with what you plan, that will work. And just addressing those things, keeping the peace and dealing with dysfunction. You have to address it. But like I say, take your emotions out of it. Don't do it emotionally, because it's only going to spread. But what you want to do is address them and let them know that's not proper. That's not how you operate. And if you're a successor, you definitely got to have standards and stand your ground. Stand your ground. If any of you out there who are successors, which most of us are, but if you are a successor, you have to stand your ground. You cannot be afraid. You're going to anticipate fallout. Anticipate it. I'm telling you, anticipate fallout. Anticipate it. You have to anticipate a lot of different things, which will make it easier. You won't react the way that they're expecting you to react. Right. And like I say, even if it's the lead singer, even if it's one of your top soloists, you still got to stand and let them know that's not proper action. OK. My sister said it paid off and God bless. Yeah, it did. OK. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad that I helped you out. Let me go back here and see. Oh, I think that was my last question. If anybody else have a question that you want me to go over, we will do that. Otherwise, we're going to end this session. I'm almost on an hour. You all kept me pretty busy. I appreciate that. But yeah, do the best that you can. Always pray and do the best that you can. All right. Remember, you are human. You rely on the Spirit of God to give you courage, to give you strength, to do what you need to do. Remember, if you fail at something, it's not the end of the world. It is not the end of the world. I don't ever want you to think, and that's kind of where God has me to create this for people who are, I don't want to say it, but you on the lower ranks. Like most of the time I'm in master classes, they're dealing with people that are instrumentalists. We do all kinds of stuff, recording artists and all this kind of stuff. But I want to bring things down to help the average choir director become where I've already gone. I'm reaching towards another level right now. But God is blessing me where I'm beginning to do more lecturing, which is what I love. I love teaching. I think I got that from my dad. I love to teach and I love to share knowledge. I'm not afraid to share knowledge with any of you, because when I share, then I get refilled with greater. All right. Thank you all for tuning in and hanging out with me. Hey, thank you. That's my little sister. Thank you so very much, sis. I appreciate you. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. Thank you. Like and share this video if it's been helpful to you. And then we'll be back next time with something else. Hope you enjoyed it. Look, have a fantastic evening. Have a great weekend. All of that good stuff. And, you know, I will be on vacation for a little stint. I do have some videos that I did do, so I'll be able to show them just in case you didn't see them earlier. So pray for your girl that I get some rest and I get some peace and quiet and get some rest. But I thank you all so much for supporting me. Thank you, YouTube. The numbers keep going up, new subscribers every month. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you too, Facebook. But you all already been up, but YouTube is on the way. I love all y'all. Thank you so very much. Oh, you're welcome, Joseph. You are welcome. Thank you all so very much. Love y'all and peace.